Hey y'all, it's time to paint our trees on our wash background. We're gonna mix 3 different values of gray. Everybody's gonna get their own lunch tray with 2 piles of white paint and 1 pile of black paint already poured for them. And we are gonna do some mixing. Let's start with the first pile of paint. We're gonna make it the light value. Dunk your paintbrush in the black paint 1 time and mix it totally into that white pile. Don't stop mixing early. If you still see white, like straight white parts of the paint pile, it's not mixed enough. After you're done mixing your light value, it's time to mix your medium value. You're going to be adding black paint to this pile right here. You want to make it darker than this color, but lighter than black. So start with a bigger scoop of black paint than you used the first time. Mix it all the way in. See how dark it gets. Okay, so my medium is darker than the light one, and it's lighter than the black, but I think I could make it like a little darker and still be safe. So I'm gonna add 1 more scoop of black into that pile to make it more even. I'm going to add another scoop of black paint. I think I could still be safe. I think my medium pile will still be much lighter than black if I add just a little more. And I want it to be clearly darker than my light value. There we go. I think I'm happy with that. Light, medium, dark. Perfect. Okay. It's time to start painting our trees. We're gonna paint a row of light trees. We're just gonna use the lightest value that we mixed. And you are going to first paint the ground that your trees are growing out of. And you're gonna leave about 1 inch space under it, like so. If you want to make your land a little more interesting, you could add some hills, if you'd like. Now that we have a ground set up for the trees to grow out of, it's time to start painting some trees. And like I said, we're only using the light value right now. Load up your brush, and the first step to painting trees is painting the trunk. The trunk of the tree is the middle of the tree, and it's the biggest part. It's the thickest part. But it gets pointy at the top. So to get this thick on the bottom, pointy on the top, you're going to have to do something special with your paintbrush. When you're painting the bottom of the tree trunk, you'll want to press your paintbrush so that it's like a flat foot on your paper. Then, as you paint the upwards line, you're going to slowly, at the same time, lift your paintbrush so it's on its tippy toe by the time it gets to the top. You can go both ways actually. You can start on your tiptoe at the top of the tree, or You can start on a flat foot at the bottom of the tree, but the key is that you change it as you paint up and down. If you notice, every tree is different and unique, so you should try to make your tree trunks face different directions. You could wiggle your paintbrush to give it kind of an older texture. Think about it. Once you have a nice balance of tree trunks all across your paper, it's time to paint the medium branches. Every tree trunk needs 2 or 3 or even more medium branches sticking out to the sides. And just like the tree trunks, you're going to try to paint those branches skinny on the tip of them and fatter as they go down. So use the tip toe of your paintbrush, and as you're painting, flatten it, or vice versa. Start with a flat foot paintbrush, paint the branch, and slowly lift the paintbrush to its tippy toe. Okay, every one of my tree trunks has at least 2 or 3 medium branches. Now it's time to add the small branches to each one of the medium branches. Same idea, you want the tip of the small branches to be skinnier than the bottom. So use that special ballerina paintbrush trick, the tiptoe and the flat foot. Trees are cool because they just have a million little tiny branches sticking out of them. So before you're done with the light value trees, you need to make sure you go through and add a few short, tiny little branches. And for these, you're just using the tiptoe of your paintbrush. Otherwise, they'll be too thick. Just use the tiptoe for the tiniest branches. Now we're switching to the medium value. We're gonna paint right on top of the trees we have to make a next row of trees that looks closer to us. We're using medium. Same exact steps as the light value. Paint the ground. This time you can paint it closer to the bottom of the paper, still leaving some space. Add some hills if you'd like. Just like before, you're gonna start with some tree trunks. Now you're going to want to think about, am I painting another tree directly onto my light value tree? You don't want to do that. You might want to put these tree trunks kind of in between them. Not perfectly, if you want it to look like a real forest. But you don't want to totally block the light value trees. I mean, you took the time to paint them. You want to be able to see them. Oh yeah, tree trunks are skinny on top and fat on the bottom. Use the ballerina trick. Time for some medium branches. Every one of these tree trunks needs at least 2 or 3 medium branches painted on them. Skinny on top, fatter on the bottom. Use the ballerina trick that I taught you. Next step, every medium branch needs small branches painted on them. Ballerina trick. They should also be skinny on the top and fatter as they get closer to the tree trunk. That makes your tree look more realistic. Last step for these medium value trees is to add the tiny little branches everywhere. Just use the tip toe of your paintbrush for these.